Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're diving into a fascinating lecture that offers a completely radical reframing of Korean identity and destiny. Seriously, if you think you know the traditional historical narrative, you might want to prepare to have the script flipped entirely. The source material takes deeply rooted traditions, we're talking national symbols, historical struggles, ancestral rituals, and translates them into a modern framework of universal energy, global leadership, and human evolution. It is a completely different lens for looking at exactly why a society develops the way it does. Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our roadmap for today. First, we'll look at the era of universal knowledge. Second, redefining the Mugunghwa and Arirang. Third, the true meaning of Hyo. And finally, hardship as humanities research.
Section 1. The Era of Universal Knowledge.
So the lecture kicks off with this massive historical shift. Think about it. For thousands of years, especially during the Joseon dynasty, knowledge was heavily restricted. It was essentially locked away from women and the everyday commoners, who were known as sungmin. But contemporary Korea, it represents an unprecedented historical moment. The speaker points out that we are now living in a true knowledge society, where learning is universally accessible. It doesn't matter your age, your class, or your gender. This kind of mass intellectual awakening is quite literally a first in human history. Now, you might be wondering why this sudden change. According to the source, all this universal knowledge isn't just so people can get better jobs or simply survive. It's way bigger than that. The lecture lays out 4 grand purposes. First, to fulfill a historical mission. Second, to actually honor the massive sacrifices made by ancestors over millennia. Third, to use this knowledge to unite as a rock-solid society. And finally, to act as Hongik Ingan. This is the concept of being leaders who broadly benefit humanity. The speaker actually refers to the people as descendants of heaven, suggesting that this knowledge equips them to literally guide the world.
Moving right along to Section 2. Redefining Mugunghwa and Arirang.
Now, what's really interesting about this next part is the myth-busting approach it takes with iconic cultural symbols. Take the national flower, the Mugunghwa, or the Rose of Sharon. We usually just picture a botanical plant, right? Well, the speaker argues that the true Mugunghwa isn't a plant at all. It's actually the blooming smiles on the faces of the people. The idea here is that the flower only truly blooms when the Korean people are living joyfully. If they're frowning and struggling, the true national flower just hasn't bloomed yet. And then there's Arirang. This is widely viewed as a deeply sorrowful tune of parting and grief, but the speaker imparts a stunningly different view. Historically, as people faced intense hardship and migrated through difficult terrains, they endlessly sang Arirang. In this philosophy, the word itself translates to carrying God on one's shoulders. So it wasn't a song of defeat. It was an energetic calling to the divine, actively carrying that spiritual weight through historical struggles. So what does this all mean for us today? The speaker delivers a very direct warning, captured perfectly in this quote. If you don't use your knowledge for society and humanity, you shouldn't have it. The argument is that true leaders, the ones carrying the divine on their shoulders, absolutely must apply their education to benefit the world. If you're only using your intellect for selfish gain, the speaker boldly states you would have been better off remaining ignorant. Let's look at Section 3, the true meaning of Hyo, which is a complete reimagining of filial piety. Let's see how all of this builds into the concept of Huyo. Traditionally, honoring your ancestors meant physical rituals. You offer food, maybe some fresh apples, or other material goods to graves. But the speaker pushes back with a highly practical point. Ancestors no longer have physical bodies. They can't exactly crunch into an apple. Because ancestors exist purely as energy, the alternative has to be an energetic ritual. So, according to the lecture, the only way to truly honor them is for living descendants to live a happy life, because that generates the positive energy the ancestors can actually feel. As you'll see here, the lecture strictly categorizes how emotions are experienced across different realms. As humans with physical bodies, we are the ones capable of feeling active joy and happiness. But ancestors and deities, being pure energy without a physical form, they can't feel that active, buzzing happiness. Instead, they feel what the speaker describes as a profound gladness or a sort of heavy joy. And God, or the universe, operates on that exact same energetic level of profound gladness. And this brilliantly illustrates the step-by-step energetic chain reaction. Step 1, when you experience joy in your daily life, you create a very specific energy. Step 2, that energy flows upward to your formless ancestors, translating into that profound gladness. And that is what actually fulfills your duty, your ho, to them. Step 3, consequently, the universe is pleased by this harmony and echoes that exact same positive energy right back to you. Because of how this flow works, the speaker takes a genuinely provocative stance. Stop begging and praying to deities. The lecture argues that modern educated people shouldn't be bargaining with heaven for favors or, a better real estate deal. Instead, the ultimate spiritual practice is incredibly simple. Just live a joyous life. If you do that, you naturally honor your ancestors, you please the divine, and you attract positive energy. No begging required. Which brings us to Section 4, Hardship as Humanity's Research. So, if the whole point is just to live joyfully, you're probably asking, why do we face so much pain and hard labor? It's a question that anchors all of us, right? If we are meant to be joyful leaders, why is daily life so incredibly difficult? Well, the lecture provides a highly unconventional answer. Normally, we look at labor as a grueling struggle. We work so we can eat, we work to survive. But the speaker flips this entirely. Labor and hardship are actually designated opportunities to research society and grow. You aren't put into a difficult job just to suffer and get by. You're put there so you can analyze the environment, understand exactly why pain occurs in society, and figure out how to solve it. This all builds up to one of the most striking quotes from the source. Korea is humanity's research institute. The speaker posits this massive, sweeping view of history, suggesting that all the world's religious cultures, ideologies, and the resulting hardships were brought into Korea specifically so the people there could study them. The struggles aren't punishments, they're research data. The goal is to study this data, solve the inherent problems, and then export those solutions to the rest of the world. So, how can you apply this to your own life? The speaker outlines what we can call the researcher's mindset. First off, don't just endure your labor or suffer through it blindly. Second, actively analyze why the pain or difficulty is occurring. Third, treat your workplace or your struggles as fieldwork, research solutions right where you are. And fourth, use your specific, innate talents to grow independently. The idea is that when you do this, you transform from a laborer into a true leader. Which leaves us with this final, powerful question to reflect on. Are you just enduring your daily labor? Or are you actively researching it, finding a reason to smile, and thereby bringing light to the world? Whether you view it as spiritual energy or just a brilliant psychological reframe, the source material challenges us to stop merely enduring life and start genuinely studying it. Thank you for joining me on this explainer. Keep asking questions, keep researching your world, and we'll see you next time.